Honestly, if I've always been a sneakerhead since I can fifth grade, sixth grade, but I couldn't, at that time afford for the nicest things like J's, all the Nikes I wanted. So what I would do, I would always have like the Jordan. I would ask my homies for like the Jordan cards, and I would always look at the retros from like 1 to I think it was like 18 or 20, and I would just be like, I'm gonna have these shoes one day. So I remember I had my first job, a Steak and Shake, back in like 11th grade. I used to save up like all my checks for like 2 weeks and just get like the freshest J's, and then like right then and there, I just used to be just hooked. Crazy thing is, Heat Check was actually like done way before Disingenuous, all the songs coming from 2020. So Heat Check was pretty much like a staple song I made like pretty much right after I got off tour in 2019. It was like a nice summer song. It was meant to come out in the summer, but I still needed to work on it. So I ended up releasing it like November of 2019. And it was just basically primarily a sneaker song. Like I've always been a sneakerhead. I came up with that entire dance challenge the day I released the song. Like for weeks, I was trying to think this has to go with the dance challenge. It has to go with something. I just could not think of something. But the day I literally released it, something clicked in my head. Okay, this is just flowing, boom, boom, this and that. And it just went with it, and everybody just took off with it. Oh yeah, little song for the sneakerheads. FTC, why not? 561, let me get a heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, heat check? Heat check, 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 heat. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. I used to look at different things like 360 wave videos, like 360 waves for like, hair and everything like that. And people would always say like wave check and everything. And that just basically means like, okay, I see the wave, let me see if they on fire. So I kind of got that idea and I turned it into heat. And heat usually is, for anybody that, knows anything about sneakers or just any type of thing in that world, it just basically means you have something like not necessarily expensive, but just rare and just like it's hard to get and everything like that. And I kind of wanted to make it to something similar where it's like if everybody remember when they were in school and they're beating on the desk doing like a little the beat freestyle thing. So I kind of wanted to kind of get in that category. So what I pictured in my head, with people huddled up in a circle and they're just, announcing like heat check. Let me see who got what on their feet. Let me see if the drip is working with. So it kind of all pictured to my mind. And so, that's honestly how I came up with that idea. When I first made the song, it originally was just straight hook. It was just a hook and then no verses. And then the hook came back again. And then somebody was literally telling me like, bro, you can honestly just make like a whole song and just make it straight hook. And I'm like, nah, bro, I can't do it. I got to say something. I ain't never had nobody tell me how to win. Nigga, pay attention. You can miss your chance to listen in. I feel like a lot of the times people kind of look at the goofy personality or look at, me goofing around, which I don't mind because, that's what I do. And that's just how I, portray myself. That's just how naturally I am. But at the same time, you also got to get to a point where you got to kind of listen to what I'm really saying, because the people that really listen to what I'm saying, they actually always say all the time, like, oh, you're really spitting some like real hardcore advice. You're spitting something that helped me out in my life or, what I could have experienced or whatever. So it's just like, I just always want to remind people just, you can have a laugh, but always remember that there's always a lesson to what I'm saying, spitting, or whatever. And better watch your bitch. I'm that nigga that's gonna take that fattest nigga out. Got him choking on that neck fat. That fat word is spelled P-H-A-T and an E-S-T. So that word was actually, I found it out from my mom. Like my mom has always told me that since I was little, like, oh, you're fat, son. Like you're the fattest out compared to everybody else, this and that. And I already knew, obviously the word fattest when it's spelled in that P-H-A-T form, it means like hottest or dopest or coolest in like an old category form. Got them choking on that neck fat. It just basically means just like anybody that's just like shocked to see like how I'm still doing it or how I'm getting to where I'm at, and they're just like so shocked they're choking on their own neck fat. Not necessarily like I'm choking out a fat person. No, y'all niggas heard I'm that nigga in my city, bitch. I'm the type of nigga that's gonna get it out her titty, bitch. I ain't gonna lie. When the strip clubs be open, when the lockdown is not in effect, that's, what I was referring to in that line. I love, going to the strip club with the homies and everything like that. And, when I, mess with a stripper, like, I ain't gonna lie, that's like the first thing I kind of go for. And it's just like, it's like a turn on factor. It's kind of, I don't want to make you laugh too much. It's just, I don't know. That was just mainly like a thing that I'll just like, go after. That's just like the spot, like the sweet spot I like to go for, like in a woman. Switching up my shit, motherfuckers rhyme dick. Gotta make it, ain't no bricks. If you shoot your shot, you don't miss. Basketball, honestly, saved my life. It kept me out of trouble. It kept me wanting to do anything trouble. And anytime I felt sad, that's like my medicine, I go to. When it comes to how it benefited the music world, it definitely has increased it a lot. Shout out to all the basketball pages, such as, Sports Center, Overtime, House of Highlights, ESPN, all types of the basketball pages. They not only, mess with me when it comes, the basketball side, they mess with me when it comes to the music side as well. And they're very supportive. And, with the youth I feel like that I have in control too, it definitely helps in that aspect because a lot of, the youth, they play basketball and they have games, high schools and all that type of stuff. So it's always incorporated into it. And I feel like too, the type of music that I make, it low-key like fits that type, it fits like a sports type of his vibe. So it's just, everything just connects the right way. So it's just like basketball definitely helps in just both the worlds and just the real world and, the music world a lot. Talking all that shit, I'll smack you with a tampon. All up in your bitch like a whip, she get ran on, bitch. I got that idea basically from YouTube in a way. It's called a thing called like audience retention. So I feel like if I transfer that over to music, I feel like most of the time when people listen to music, the first 15 to 20 seconds, you have that time to grasp like them into, to get their attention. So I always kind of want to dedicate any song that I do, like the first 4 lines, I always want to say something just like so out the world where it's either they don't hear before or it'll make them just think like, wait, what did you say? Knock a nerd, nigga, backpack, nigga, this that shit, make that ass clap, FTC. What the fuck a nigga mean? Yeah, so where all that FTC and Flight Crew originated, it was all the way back in 2015. It was probably, like I say, a couple months before I really made my name where it was and started to blow up. So it was one day I woke up and I literally had a fan email me and he was just like, hey, Fly, I think you should start your videos off with this intro. Like he literally like damn near ghost writ a YouTube intro for me without me even asking. And he was just like, I think this will be really catchy. So one day I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just go on video, boom. And I said it and everybody was just hooked on it. Like, and it was something where I wouldn't even try to make it sound catchy or try to make it a thing. It was just something people would lock in and they just went with it. And I just kept it going since then. So FTC, Flight Team Crew, if anybody still doesn't know, because they always ask, what does FTC mean? It's Flight Team Crew. And then, you stand up and everything like that. So FTC is just like a whole group, it's amazing. Say I don't slap, then a bitch crazy. On your head, no beanie. Yeah, I'm talking money, Irish Spring, green. I basically am very known in the 2K community, basketball. So basically, every time that I shoot and I get like a perfect release, I say Irish Spring Green. Like it was just something 100% freestyled. I never took the time to think about it, think it out. It came from a soap, which is the funny thing is, I didn't even know it was like a soap brand. I didn't know any of that until after I said the whole catchphrase. Like I went off and said it, and then people was just like, oh, this and that, this comes from this. But that honestly comes from the 2K, and I transferred it off to the basketball world. So if you hit a shot and it's nothing but net, it can't hit the rim, the corner, bounce off nothing, it has to hit nothing but net. That's a official Irish Spring Green. So that's where it all stemmed off from. Just basically like a perfect shot, perfect release. Let me get a heat check. Can I get a heat check?